Hi guys, I'm going to recap a 2013 Korean action comedy movie, called Secretly, Greatly. This movie tells the story of a North Korea black ops who has to act as an idiot in a village in South Korea, in order to reunite the North and the South Korea. So, how can he reunite Korea by being an idiot? Let's find it out. A high-ranking captain in North Korea's Black Ops 1 is tasked to infiltrate South Korea and acts as a sleeper agent, to one day reunify Korea. He is assigned to build his cover in a rural area in South Korea, and act as a powerful asset should the necessity arise one day. 2 years later, he has successfully infiltrated South Korea and disguises himself as a village idiot, making sure that no one will expect his real identity. As a result, he is often being bullied by the village kids due to his stupidity. There, he works as a shopkeeper, assisting Granny while also keeping his cover intact. He is paid $200 a month by Granny, which he saves and plans to give to his mother in North Korea. To further ensure his cover, he deliberately does stupid acts such as leaving a snot mark every day, falling down in public more than 3 times a day, and urinating or defecating in public every month. Every day, he works at Granny's shop and interacts with the villagers, who have deemed him as the village's local idiot. Even though he acts as an idiot and is sometimes irritating, the villagers are kind to him in their own way. Not only one, the professor is also another North Korean spy in the village, but he has been dormant for 16 years. Due to the years of inactivity, the two are concerned about their real identity. Even the professor starts to enjoy his peaceful life in the village, free from the harsh reality that they had in the north. Not long after, their peaceful life has to stop as the professor hears that his mother passed away last winter. He regrets his dormant years so much, because he neither actively contributed to the country nor took care of his mother. One who initially joined the unit to feed his mother, misses his mother so much and can't wait to return home and meet her. He often writes letters to her, but currently keeps all of them to himself, hoping that he will be able to give it to her personally one day. Not long after, one hears that an unknown singer wannabe has just come to the village. While one is training to keep his body in shape, the rumored individual visits him. Turns out, he is Hae Rang, one's compatriot in the same unit who is also a bastard son of North Korea's military general. Hae Rang is also sent to the village as a sleeper agent and disguises himself as a singer. The North has sent him as a substitute for one, as one could have betrayed the North for being dormant for too long. By being the village idiot, one is very close to the kids there. One day, a local child wakes one up in the middle of the night. He says that his brother went missing when they were going out to pee. He checks his pee trail and uses his skills to track the kid down, while all of the villagers are also outside looking for the missing kid. By focusing on his sharp hearing, he hears the kid's voice and goes towards it. He grabs random villagers' clothes to cover his face and identity. After some searching, he is able to find the missing boy who actually visits another neighbor's house asking for cookies. Strangely, the villagers shout at him and call him a pervert. Turns out, he unknowingly took the wrong clothes for cover while chasing after the boy's voice. Despite being surrounded, he is able to flee and keeps his cover intact. On the other hand, South Korea's National Intelligence Service, or the Niche, is now aware of North Korea's spies' presence in the country, since lots of North Korea's defectors have been killed. The Niche are afraid of the unit, as they are black ops and now are controlled only by one general, due to a sudden power shift. Out of nowhere, one of the Niche agents is shot and killed by an unknown sniper during the meeting. Judging by the action, the Niche deduces that the sniper is also one of the North Korean black ops, so they create a special unit specifically to contain the rumored North Korea's agents, under the South Korean leader's command. At night, when one is reminiscing about his mother, the mysterious sniper visits him and immediately aims a gun at him. The sniper is sent by North Korea to make sure that no defectors live peacefully in the South and becomes accustomed to living there. One proves himself to be loyal to the North, so the sniper leaves. Wanting to find out his identity, one tries to chase him, but the sniper manages to run away. After some checking, one successfully tracks him down and even identifies him. The mysterious sniper is the prodigious Hae Jin, youngest spy in the unit who joins the Black Ops due to his admiration for one. Unlike the other two, Hae Jin is tasked to disguise himself as a high school student and carry out his mission of terminating the North's defectors. And so, Hae Rang, Hae Jin, the three of them start to live their peaceful lives in the South Korean village. Since the villagers are very kind to them, they often secretly help them chasing away the bad guys who come to disturb the people's lives. One day, some thugs try to mess with Granny's store. Granny is almost hurt if not for one saving her in time. One is maddened and tries to fight the thug seriously, but Granny stops him. He is shocked to hear Granny's response, and starts to suspect that Granny actually knew his real identity all along. Then, he orders Hae Jin to confront the thugs, on behalf of Granny. Despite their great number, the thugs are of course no match for the prodigy. One day, the villagers gather over some meal and the three spies are also invited. There, they share warm meal, sing, and laugh together. One deeply enjoys the time, as he has remembered about his harsh past in the North. Deep inside, he actually loves the place, but is afraid to change and defect his nation, leaving his mother there. Meanwhile in the north, the army general is notified of the niche plan to capture their spies. To keep the unit's secrecy, he plans to execute all of them as traitors of the revolution. However, the chief persuades him to let them end themselves and die with honor instead. To further convince him, he also promises to kill the traitors who doesn't carry out the suicide mission. With just an order, the mission is sent to all of the remaining spies in the south. One is both surprised and excited to accept his first mission for so long, but is really shocked upon reading it. Receiving the same mission, both He Rang and He Jin can't accept it either as they haven't completed any mission to establish their reputation. Meanwhile across the south, the spies have started to annihilate each other and themselves to close their service to their country. As they do it, they hail Korea's upcoming reunification, the goal and belief that have been instilled in their minds since little. Back in the village, the three spies also get into a fight. He Jin is determined to carry out the mission. He plans to end the other two, before finally killing himself. After some consideration, one finally allows He Jin to do the task. However, He Jin does not have the heart to do so and leaves. The news of the last mission reaches the niche too, as unusual reports spread around the country. The leader, who also used to be in North Korea's Black Ops, swears to save the three surviving members, going against his director's order to execute them. Afterwards, the leader sends the niche agents out to tail and capture the three. During the mission, the leader confronts one, and tries to convince him to betray the North, because he has done the same and is convinced that it's better for him too. Suddenly, He Jin comes to help him and chases after the leader who is on the run. However, after some time, he is cornered and held captive by the niche instead. The niche immediately takes out a tracking device which was planted by the North in his body without him knowing, as the first attempt to show that they really want to help the three. Meanwhile, the chief is personally coming to the south to execute the remaining spies who haven't carried out their mission. One who is convinced to betray his country, readies himself to fight against the chief who also used to be his instructor back in the north. Before parting, he finally acts as himself and gives advice to the villagers who have been kind to him. He even helps a widow to find her long-lost son who has been given up for adoption by her parents. Then, he also bids his farewell to Granny who has been sheltering him for 2 years. Surprisingly, Granny has suspected him of being a spy ever since she saved him 2 years ago. She also gives him a banknote and says that he will need the money back home. The memorable farewell truly leaves a deep meaning in one's heart. And so, one departs from the village with a heavy heart. In order to overcome the chief and his men, One and He Rang join forces and prepare themselves. After finding out from the niche leader that they are monitored by the GPS implanted in their body, they plan to lure the chief to fight them outside the village, in order to keep the safety of the villagers who have been so kind to them. On the other hand, He Jin decides to ally with the niche in helping One fighting the North, as he cares more about One rather than his own nationality. Finally, One and the chief meet for the first time after 2 years, however this time as enemies. Worried about his mother's condition, One immediately asks about her, but Chief keeps on evading the question and insists on fighting him. The fight is so fierce and tense, as the best Black Ops agent is fighting his instructor. After some time, One wins the fight. He holds the chief at gunpoint, but hesitates to shoot him, as he grew up being trained by the chief. Suddenly, he is stabbed in the back and falls down through the window. Unfortunately, some kids from the village see him all battered. Not wanting any witness, the chief and his men shoot at them. Luckily, He Rang comes to rescue them with a car. The niche also join the fight and the two finally manage to flee the scene. The fight continues as the niche and the chief and his men are having a shootout in the village. Meanwhile, One and He Rang are meeting the professor in an abandoned building, to retrieve One's guns that the professor has smuggled out. Surprisingly, the professor has another plan. He and some other surviving spies plan to turn One and He Rang in as traitors, so they may return to the north as heroes. They point the brought guns at the two, not knowing that One has emptied them before entrusting them to the professor. The two parties eventually engage in hand-to-hand combat. They fight so intensely and last for quite some time. Both One and He Rang are far more skilled than the professor and his men, since they have been trained for combat ever since they were young. Even though the two are greatly outnumbered, they manage to cripple the other spies one by one. However, things turn sour for One, as he finds out from the professor that his mother has been killed by their government ever since he joined the unit. He is so devastated after hearing the news, and cannot get back to his feet. Suddenly, snipers from the north shoot at them from outside the building. In addition, the chief and his men also arrive, followed by the niche to engage in the final fight. He Jin, who is with the niche, frees himself and takes out the north snipers, to let the niche enter the building. As One is still devastated by the news, One and He Rang are cornered to the rooftop, where they confront the chief and his men once more. With blood all over his body, One still manages to beat the Norths, that the chief is the last one remaining left. He Rang is stabbed in the abdomen and cannot fight any longer, so he can't help One in fighting the chief. At first, they fight on par for quite some time. Ultimately, the fight reaches a stalemate as they strangle one another. The chief gets out of One's lock and punches One several times. Things are getting ugly for Won and Hei Rang, but the niche finally arrives and breaks the status quo. Hei Jin, who is also amongst the crowd, finally reveals himself and aims a gun at the chief. Still wanting to take down the three, the chief, who is feeling cornered, brings out a bomb and promises to blow himself up along with the three. He doesn't want to betray his nation, even though his life is at stake. Due to his love for his comrades, Hei Rang forcefully gets up and pushes the chief over the edge, blowing himself up and saving the other two. Seeing that the enemy is weakened, the niche starts their mission to arrest the surviving two. Leader tries to talk the two into surrendering, but one is still grieving for his mother's death and he doesn't plan to either flee or turn himself in. Suddenly, he remembers the banknote that Granny gave him before departing. One bursts into tears after finding out that Granny has given him all of her life savings for Won and his family back in the north. Feeling pinched, Hei Jin shoots at the niche in hope of chasing them away, but they retaliate and shoot him several times. One finally snaps out and protects him from further gunshots, and both of them fall down the building together. In the end, Won and Hei Jin die together, as they imagine their desired life being born as ordinary men living in a peaceful country. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like and comment to help the channel out. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.